Secular Perspective. Brought to you by the Secular Party of America. With your host, Atheist Angel. Well, alrighty then. I guess I should get that out of the way, huh? Clear my throat. Alright, Atheist Angel right here. And, yeah, this is Secular Perspective. That's right. Secular Perspective brought to you by the Secular Party of America, or basically just brought to you by my living room at the moment, or kitchen, because, of course, we are all in isolation at the moment, aren't we? Everyone's in isolation. Hold on just a second, baby. Hold on. Because I've been working on this intro and stuff, and it'll be added to this afterwards, but eventually, well, this podcast used to be with video, and it used to be hosted. Brandon, I believe his name was. I can't remember what the gentleman's name was that used to host this show, but and I have not spoken with him in years, but it is now hosted by myself, Atheist Angel, and will continue to be so, and we'll have various guests and things on here, but we used to be with video too, and then we would upload it to, and live pretty much. Yeah, we were live as well, and real time as it were. But now we're pre-recording and chopping, splicing, adding all the bells and whistles and things that you can do in post-production to be uploaded later. But I'm working on the audio and video intros of this. But hey, out there, yeah, like I said, we are looking for interesting, intelligent, articulate guests to be on the show. We can discuss politics, current events, relative matters, things like that, fashion, music, just relevant issues. It's like Seinfeld or the box of chocolate sort of thing with this show. You never know exactly what you're going to get, but we will try to keep it interesting and play some tunes here and there, and just, you never know exactly who's going to be on the show, what we're going to do, what's going to happen at any given moment, but that's the way I like it. So that's what we're going to do. All right, let me... I don't know. We'll kind of look around here. I've been kind of asking online if there's anybody that wants to actually come on the show. And so far, no takers. Well, I've had a few takers, but everybody's got to get prepared. And right now, you really don't. This is the beauty of this sort of thing. It used to be like you needed a headset, and the whole nine like that. And, but now you just kind of can go right through your computer or your telephone. And seeing as how we don't have to worry about video, you don't have to worry about your hair being... anything. You can just be sitting on the toilet, I guess, and join us here on the show. So and you don't have to have any special setup. So, and I can fix most things in post production, and we'll see what happens and stuff. But we're just, of course, in our infant stage, taking the baby steps, as it were, to start the show off one more time and go from there. And so we'll keep things relevant and move along, see what happens, and try to keep you interested, because we want to do this at least once a week and have like a half-hour show, and of course get more listeners, because we want to discuss your points of view, give you relevant relevant information on important topics, things such as the virus, and there is a lot of bad information out there, and of course, trying to, in this time we're already separate as a nation as it is, already so divided, so extremely divided on so many issues. Not any one in particular, but one huge one, of course, the guy in charge, or supposedly out there, Trump. We are extremely divided because of Trump. And then, of course, when we get slammed with something like this, a pandemic, when you have someone who is maybe not the most qualified person to be in the position that he's in, it stands to reason that you are going to have a few issues, little extra issues on top of that, which we all knew was coming. But when you're already a divided nation, and then you get something to this effect that divides us more, and also that we have to be in isolation, almost like ordered to be in isolation, then of course any hope of us coming together right now is really kind of just far-fetched. We're coming together. A lot of people come together online with their online parties, things like that. That's great. Keeping each other entertained on social media with their, cat pictures and anecdotes, amusing videos. All this. You get the positive people out there that are posting happy-go-lucky things, along with the folks like me, the Debbie Downers, who are posting the real things and keeping you up to date on what's happening and things like that. But here we are. So we're going to give you a mix so that you are not inundated with any one thing where you're like, man, all they talk about is that over and over. All they give us are cat pictures, man. When are they going to get to the real issues? So we will try to give you a mix of both. So eventually, hopefully, here we can have call-ins. Pretty much, I will start taking requests for things that people want to hear, talk about, discuss. You can call in, just give us things. Let me see. I just got a message here. Let's see if we can, because we can do all this in real time now. And the beauty of secular. Wow, we've got 5 new views. Wow, it's picking up, man. Because that's the thing. Because when the Secular Party of America folded several years ago, it was disappointing for a number of people. Had put in a lot of hard work, many years of dedication, devotion to the party. It had a chance, and it grew faster than any of us had even expected. It was amazing. It was at a time when atheism was had reached a sort of crossroads where we really didn't know what to do with ourselves. Excuse me, because of course atheism is, we're like herding cats, right? There's really only one thing that we agree on, and that's we're not convinced any gods exist. So other than that, we're all over the board. So no matter what anyone else tries to tell you, we have no agenda. We have no holy book or scripture or dogma or anything like that. Atheism means one thing only, and then anything else that is attached to that is fluff. It has nothing to do with the atheism, but it's the one thing we agree on, and then other than that, we are all over the place. So trying to get us together into a party was difficult to say the least, and but we did it, and we right now we still have over 20,000 members, and I think at the time we got over 30,000, if I'm not mistaken, at one point. Oh wow, amazing video, cool, thank you. So when of course we had a lot of issues that we were divided on, and one of them was the name, of course. And a lot of people in the party wanted to change it to Secular Party of America, and if I remember correctly, there were a lot of infighting about it and how it went down, and kind of didn't turn out the best. Some people made some bad decisions, and it caused the party essentially to crumble. But it was there's a lot to it, and we'll discuss it more in detail, the inner workings of it, because I happen to know a lot of the people that were involved in a lot of the details, and we will discuss that at some point. Of course, it's been 7 years since it all went down. It may not be as relevant to a lot of people out there, but a lot of people, I think, are still interested in what happened, and they would like to know, why, the what's, the ends, and more than maybe they know now. I probably can't give all the answers, but I'm sure that I can answer quite a few of your questions or things that you didn't know at least, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, things are what they were, and I know that the people that were involved, the people that ended up that made the bad mistakes, the people that I don't know, I guess I don't want to say they set the ball in motion, but because the party was already in trouble, but they definitely made a bad call as far as they rigged essentially the voting system, and that they got caught, and but it wasn't, according to them, it wasn't malicious, and it was for the benefit of the party. So I mean, there's two sides to it, or maybe there's more sides. Who knows? I'm sure there's several sides to it, but we'll, like I said, we'll discuss that more here in detail real soon. I'm hoping to have maybe some people that were involved in it on the show, and we can discuss it further. But in the meantime, yeah, it was sad to see the party go down, and then of course afterwards, just people were kind of had a lot of questions and were kind of lost for a while, and of course there was a lot of infighting in the party at that time, a lot of accusations going back and forth, and people. It's tough to get us to agree on a lot of things. We just, like I said, we're all over the board. So it had a lot of problems and a lot of backstabbing and a lot of just things, because just because someone's an atheist doesn't mean that they are, you know, the coolest people in the world, or the most rational, or the best skeptics when it comes to other things. And there's, as Mr. Michael Shermer wrote a book, has done many talks on why people believe weird things and why smart people believe some really stupid shit, essentially, is how it goes. So that happens far too often. So we do tend to get into arguments with our own, catfighting, infighting sort of things with our own, and just in things where you just kind of shake your head and you go, oh my gosh, these people are critical thinkers in certain areas, and then in other areas it's just like you go, what I just don't get it. So yeah, so the party and just the atheist community in general had a huge falling out there for a while, and then of course there was a lot of sexual allegations and things, which just, gosh, that is so sad. Because that's always the way it is, isn't it? You know, when you got a good thing going, it's just something like that has to happen. And there we are, we're human, and of course you could get the religious people that would throw their 2 cents in about that. But they are by no means exempt from that sort of activity. But it just shows to go you that, hey, we're all just human. But anyway, so yeah, it really put a dent in us, and a bunch of us took, I don't know, a break from it for a while, because we had put in a lot of time and effort, and it was amazing to see the power of social media, because we were not centralized anywhere. Our home was on the internet. Our meetings were on the internet. Everything about it was on the internet, essentially. We did not meet each other until the first time when we met at the first Reason rally in Washington, D.C. And a lot of us hadn't met each other before until then. And that was really the first time, and when the party really came together. And that was, of course, anybody who was actually there or knows anything about it, that was an absolutely moving, it was an absolutely beautiful time. It's the first time, the largest gathering of free thinkers on the planet, and it was an amazing experience, even with the rain and you know, the mist, the gloom, and just people came out in droves, and it put a, you know, no pun intended, a damper on things, but it still was absolutely beautiful, and anybody who was there knows what I'm talking about. We had quite the bonding experience, and that too shows you that beautiful things can happen when people come together for a cause a lot of times, and there wasn't any like fighting or you know, anything like that I saw, that I was witness to. It was an extremely peaceful gathering. Of course, there was a lot of discussion and arguments back and forth, but for the most part, I mean, there was, not for the most part, I did not see a single act of, you know, like violence or the police having to do anything, and I may be wrong. Somebody could, I'm sure, probably correct me on that sort of thing. Oh, I saw an incident or something, but I didn't witness anything myself. and I was one of the, I helped out with the National Atheist Party with it, setting it up and everything. So, I was there, and I was in the inner workings of it, and so yeah, I know quite a few things about the party, and like I said, we'll talk more about that here soon. But yeah, it's been 7 long years, and we've had a lot of time to live our lives, right? Of course, but we're all still here. We're all still kicking, and obviously we've made the right decisions in some way, shape, or form to still be here together, breathing and listening to my dumb ass here talk on and on and on here on the podcast. But thank you so much for joining us. I guess it's really late to throw that in there, but thank you for joining us, and I do hope that you decide to stay with us and become a regular listener, and tune in and maybe share it with your friends, and you can give us suggestions and help us move in the right direction here, because that's what we hope to do. So going to take a little break right here, and then we'll come back here with a little more Secular Perspective, brought to you by the Secular Party of America, with your host, Atheist Angel. Well, we're back here on Secular Perspective, brought to you by the Secular Party of America. And I was talking just a second ago about the Secular Party of America, and how it essentially got its name, sort of, I guess, by, not officially, but now that it's past the point or whatever, and that the party has gone under, now we can, I guess, call it what we want to. So I'm choosing to stay with Secular Party of America because that was, as was intended, more inclusive of a greater portion of the population, and that was ultimately our goal, was to appeal to the greatest number of people, as I would think that any political party would want to do. And that was the intention. So, a lot of organizations distanced themselves from us because we had a National Atheist Party. That's what we were called, the National Atheist Party, and a lot of people in our discussions with other groups or individuals and things said that they would be more willing to join our cause or support us or attach their name, associate their name with us if we were Secular Party of America. So the higher ups in the organization talked it over with the people, with the members of the party. They also talked with other organizations, other secular parties from around the world, got their support as well, and so they pitched it to the members, because if I remember correctly, we had elections or things that we would vote on as far as the charter and things like that every 6 months, and we would go with the majority. Of course, majority rules in the party. It was your voice mattered, so we would vote on such things as the name and different just minor details, major details, all details, of course, positions in the party, things like that, just all kinds of things. So where we were going to have our convention, things, just all kinds of things. And so one of the things was what we were going to call ourselves, whether we were going to change the name. And at the time there were a lot of atheists that were very partial to that name because for whatever reasons, but I understand there are various reasons, and took that into consideration. Of course, we all did, in deciding our position on it, of course, and stuff. But of course, if our basic goal, the way I looked at it, was to be more inclusive, just the same way as the motto of the United States, e pluribus unum, was out of many one, I feel that that's far more inclusive than In God We Trust. I felt that Secular Party of America was a much more inclusive name, and so that's the way I voted. But a lot of the people in the party didn't the first time around, and it failed. And the name change failed. So it came up again 6 months later. There was a huge marketing campaign for it, put on by of course, by some of the people, a lot of the people in the party, including the public relations vice president at the time. And from what I understand, I mean, they not what I understand. I mean, I saw it. They put on a huge marketing campaign for it, much like you'd want to have done, pushing any sort of thing that's going up for a vote. And at the time, the party was struggling. It was very much struggling, and so a lot of the people in the party, especially the higher ups, didn't feel that the party had 6 more months to be able to survive under the same name, and so they wanted to ensure that the name change got done, that it happened, because from what I understand, they felt that it was the only choice to be able to save the party. And so they essentially threw themselves under the bus, and their biggest mistake was, well, besides fixing an election, was, just telling too many people about it. And so they got busted, and they paid the price for it, and ultimately so did the party. But like I said, at the time, the party was in a very bad way as it was already, and there was a lot of infighting. Troy Boyle, who was one of the creators of the party itself, he got booted out. We had no president for the longest time. It was just being run by the executive party, the other members of the executive party, and the executive board. And so it was tough, and they just had lost a lot of support and stuff through all that. But that happened long before that, and like I said, it had the name. And then after the vote, after they tallied the votes, kind of find out that had they not rigged the election, that it looked like, according to the vote tally, that the name change would have passed anyways. So they shot themselves in the foot, essentially, but they felt they were doing what was right for the party, and I happen to agree. I happen to agree that was essential for the party to survive, and that it would not have made another 6 months. It would have folded. It would have folded, and there would not even have been another vote. So that was, take that with it what you will. But I think they had good intentions. They weren't intending to do it for their own benefit, their own gain. It was for the gain of the party, and how many years that they and everyone had put into it. And they felt that a lot of the members just didn't understand the ramifications of keeping the name the same. And I guess it just kind of mind-boggling that so many people didn't realize that was essentially the tipping point. It was do or die. It was either do it or the party was going to die. And so, I don't know, they threw themselves under the bus. They took a chance, and that's what happened. So here we are. So here we are 7 years later, and it's like dusting the dust off an old book or something that was relevant at one time. You start looking through it, and it's like, wow, this still has some meaning. This still has some purpose to it, and it still has a little bit of life left in it. We're like the Energizer Bunny or something, or like an old Timex watch or something. You see, you're like, oh my God, this thing's still ticking. So here we are again, and there's a few of us that are interested in kind of seeing what we can do with the party again. We know we're not going to return anytime soon to our former glory that we were at, but we want to give this a shot and see what we can do with it. Be more like an advocacy group, kind of keep people informed, have a discussion group, and just see what we can do in various secular issues. And if we can help make a difference in this world, I think we can, because I mean we've kept over 20,000 members after all this time, and I was monitoring the Secular Perspective page for the podcast, and it kept getting hits. It kept getting hits, kept getting likes year after year after year, just kept getting likes. And I was like, wow, it's amazing, because I mean obviously they got to realize that we haven't been on in a very long time, and I hadn't seen anybody really making any posts in the party. It just seemed like it was kind of just dead, like a ghost town there for a while. And then all of a sudden I started seeing a post here, post there, and like I said, a lot more likes on the Secular Perspective page. And I said, geez, I talked with the other admin on the page and said, maybe we can do something with this. And he said, well, what do you have in mind? I said, well, let's just kind of start small and see where we can go with it from there. And so that's what we're doing. And hopefully we'll have some writers writing some articles. We'll get some graphic designers and throw out some more graphics for you, make some memes, things, and just keep relevant political things posted, or whatever we feel is secularly, is that a word? Of relevance to secular people. And we'll go from there. So we're just going to have a good, just have fun with this. Have relevant guests on here. Talk about relevant topics. Keep things interesting. Keep you informed through this extremely difficult time. We do hope that you're taking care of each other and staying home and haven't been infected. But if you are, take care of yourself. Get in there and get taken care of what needs to be taken care of. We'll talk. We're going to talk soon here about the whole toilet paper frenzy. We're going to talk about where we stand as a nation. What we're going to do, because this is a strange time. We've never seen anything like this before. So this is an interesting time. This is something that happens in other countries a lot. It doesn't typically happen here. So we're getting a taste, just a very small taste of how things are in other countries and things. And this is a very small taste of it. But we'll see how we fare after this, because people are already freaking out over toilet paper, and it's just amazing, because here we all thought that maybe terrorists would come after the power grid or blow us up with some sort of nuclear bomb, or some sort of huge terrorist act, flying into buildings, boom, kill 3,000, 6,000 people, whatever, but boom, here we are fighting over toilet paper, tearing each other just up over toilet paper, like our fear that we won't be able to wipe our asses. It's just amazing, shoving old people to the ground and just beating each other up over a damn roll of toilet paper because you are afraid there's going to come a point where you're not able to wipe your ass. And it's just amazing to me. It just really, where we go as a nation when the chips are down. After 9/11, we had a common enemy, even though that was a bunch of bullshit, which we can, debate about at some other time. But, we always do that. We always do that when we don't care about our neighbor really until their house gets hit by a meteor. Then it's like, oh, I care about my neighbor. Is there something I can do for you? After 9/11, people are a little more kind to each other for a while, and then that fades away and we forget. Next thing you know, we're fuck you, cutting people off on the freeway, and who cares, right? Shoving each other down when the fucking all of a sudden toilet paper isn't there, or whatever. The shelves are empty. There's no bread. There's no food, and there's old people out there scrambling, and we're hoarding. We got our stuff. We got our little, our nuts are stored away, and we got ours. It's like, this is mine. This is mine. It's really sad to see where we've gone as a nation. And this is not even really, I understand this is a crisis, but if we were to really, really, really get hit with something, if they were to really hit our power grid or something, or, where we would go, what would happen to us? And it would happen quickly. It would happen extremely quickly. so quickly, a lot of people wouldn't even be prepared. So anyways, well, I think that's enough for one show. I think I've talked long enough, and yeah, we're gonna try to do these in 30-minute segments. And like I said, we're gonna try to get some guests on here real soon and make this a lot more interesting. But gosh darn it, we got one under our belt right here. I hope everyone's out there taking care of themselves and each other. I have a feeling that we're kind of like right in the middle of this whole thing, and it's gonna be a whole new world when we finally come out. So it's gonna be interesting to see where we are and where we go from here, what we do. So the next few shows are gonna be quite interesting. I am quite sure of that. So make sure you tune in. I'm your host. I'm Atheist Angel, and we'll be back in touch with you here real soon. Take care, everybody. I love you. Love yourselves. Love each other. And we'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye now. Secular Perspective, brought to you by the Secular Party of America. With your host, Atheist Angel.